Module 5. Healthcare Entrepreneurship. Topic 4. Regulations, Compliance and Ethics in Healthcare Entrepreneurship. Nowadays, healthcare startups can use innovative technologies such as telemedicine, big data, artificial intelligence and biotechnology to improve diagnoses, personalize treatment and optimize healthcare management. For instance, telemedicine applications have revolutionized access to medical care, especially in rural areas or during crises such as the COVID-19 pandemic. Let's dive into the key topics we'll explore in this presentation. From the foundations of entrepreneurship to essential regulations, compliance and ethics in healthcare. This discussion is followed by insights into technology startups, critical regulatory challenges and the barriers entrepreneurs face along the way. Nowadays, the market is intensely competitive and highly interconnected. In this context, businesses are increasingly emerging in highly digital and ever-changing environments. Therefore, entrepreneurs should understand that technology will be crucial to drive innovation, optimize processes, adapt to market demands and maintain a competitive edge in their industry. Process digitalization is fundamental when starting a business. Digitalization and entrepreneurship in healthcare are radically transforming the way medical services are delivered and managed. The application of digital technology in the healthcare industry offers opportunities to enhance efficiency, expand access and personalize patient care, while fostering innovation and the creation of new business models. However, the associated challenges must be addressed. Entrepreneurship plays a crucial role in digital transformation. Through entrepreneurship, it is possible to introduce innovative solutions that can address specific healthcare problems. This application of innovative solutions leads to the emergence of new technology-based organizations with major growth potential. Meanwhile, in established companies, entrepreneurship has the potential to address previously identified needs. This topic is worthy of in-depth analysis given that, in today's dynamic environment, business ideas increasingly have a digital side. In the specific case of healthcare, the role of technology startups is a standout issue. Startups have become a driving force of innovation in today's economy, shaping industries and creating solutions to modern challenges. These young and dynamic companies are built on agility and ambition, often emerging in response to gaps in the market. Companies that develop mobile applications, internal software and solutions that enhance medical care are relevant in relation to the development of technology startups. In this case, the aim is to make healthcare more accessible, focusing on well-being, education and social support. These types of companies offer the advantage of agile innovation. Startups have the flexibility to adopt various innovative and disruptive approaches without the typical constraints of large organizations. Agile innovation accelerates the development of ideas, products or services, enabling startups to adapt quickly to changes in the environment and respond effectively to market and user needs. With its flexible and dynamic approach, agile innovation can be a powerful tool to address regulatory challenges in entrepreneurship, especially given the stringent regulations in healthcare. However, striking a balance between agile innovation and regulatory compliance requires a strategic approach. Rather than waiting until the end of the process to address compliance, entrepreneurs can have frequent regulatory reviews as they develop and implement their business ideas. This approach means that potential compliance issues can be identified early on, ensuring that the product or service complies with all relevant regulations as it is developed. Early reviews not only make it easier to correct potential failures before they become serious problems but also optimize the use of resources and time by avoiding costly extensive changes when the product is almost ready for launch. In the healthcare industry, regulations are strict yet essential to protect patient safety and public welfare. In this industry, it is especially important to focus on compliance from the very beginning. Healthcare regulations, which range from patient data privacy to medical device safety, require careful and rigorous planning. Failure to do so could result in severe penalties, the revocation of licenses or even risks for the health and safety of end users. For example, in the development of medical devices, it is critical from the outset to understand certification regulations such as those of the Food and Drug Administration in the United States or the European Medicines Agency in Europe. These regulations must be followed during product design, production and clinical trials. Following these regulations involves testing, collecting data and documenting the entire process according to specific regulatory standards. This process often requires additional resources but ensures that the final product is safe and viable in the market. It is therefore essential to consider regulations throughout the entrepreneurial process so that even though it may sometimes slow the process down, coherent and correct steps are taken to achieve the final goal. The same is true when developing a technology-based product or service such as a mobile application for online medical assistance or telemedicine. In this case, it is essential to meet regulations on privacy and data protection such as the General Data Protection Regulation in Europe or the Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act in the United States. Entrepreneurs can thus have detailed information on the impact of their product or service, thereby increasing the trust of users, which is an essential asset in healthcare. Early compliance with regulations supports the entrepreneurial process and helps establish a culture of responsibility and ethics within the organization. Crucially, entrepreneurs can outsource legal services or support. If an individual is struggling to analyze the regulations in a given region and adapt the product or service to these regulations, it would be useful to hire legal experts and regulators to help with validation and authorization and thus avoid long delays and improve access to key markets. Compliance should not be seen as an obstacle. Instead, it should be viewed as an integral part of product development that, when properly managed, strengthens a company's value proposition, improves its competitiveness and ensures its long-term sustainability. In today's environment, adaptation is essential, especially when it comes to regulations. Throughout history, regulatory changes have taken considerable time to implement effectively. As regulations evolve, an agile approach will help companies and ideas adjust to these changes. The reason is that regulations typically need to be designed, debated, approved and then adapted by the companies and institutions that must comply with them. This adaptation process can be lengthy because regulation involves not only the creation of laws but also the preparation of infrastructure, training of personnel and modification of operational processes. In addition, government agencies must account for the full diversity of regional contexts and the potential side effects of new regulations. However, in some cases, the urgency of a global situation compels governments and regulatory institutions to accelerate this process, especially when the impact is profound. One such example is the COVID-19 pandemic. The COVID-19 regulations affected the daily lives of millions of people. Companies also had to adapt immediately. Governments and international organizations were forced to work closely together to impose regulations to deal with the health emergency efficiently and rapidly. One lesson from this example is that continuous legal training is crucial for entrepreneurs in the healthcare industry. In addition to soft and hard skills, being able to understand and analyze current regulations helps overcome barriers to starting businesses and ensure the long-term sustainability of these businesses. It enables identification of risks and ensures that organizations operate in an ethical and compliant manner from the outset. Entrepreneurs are encouraged to study the regulatory framework applicable to their business model at length in order to understand the legal implications and commitments it entails. Given the bureaucratic complexity involved in the process, entrepreneurs must know what type of company they want to create and the specific regulations that will affect it. This prior analysis not only makes business creation easier but also ensures smoother integration into the entrepreneurial ecosystem. Some examples of key regulatory issues. Medical devices comprise a wide variety of products, ranging from simple tools such as thermometers and bandages to advanced technologies such as pacemakers and diagnostic devices in laboratories. Some of the main standards in this area include the following. ISO 13485. This international standard refers to quality management systems for the manufacture of medical devices. It is aimed at ensuring that products are designed, manufactured and controlled according to high-quality standards. The CE mark, European Commission, medicine development is one of the most heavily regulated processes in the healthcare industry because of the potential public health risks of unfit medicine. Medicine regulations aim to ensure that medicines are effective and safe for consumption before mass distribution. Clinical trials, which are essential for testing the safety and efficacy of new medicines, are subject to strict ethical and legal regulations. These regulations mainly refer to the following: FDA and EMA. Telemedicine and digital technologies have grown considerably in recent years, especially following the COVID-19 pandemic. Other important regulatory frameworks in this area include the following: HIPAA, Health Insurance Portability and Accountability Act, USA, GDPR, General Data Protection Regulation, EU. Public-private partnerships can be an effective strategy to address regulatory challenges and facilitate compliance. PPPs provide access to resources, knowledge and government support, while enhancing transparency and industry trust. With entrepreneurship in highly regulated industries, such as healthcare, one of the most effective strategies to ensure that products or services comply with regulations is the use of prototypes. As mentioned in previous topics, prototypes and minimum viable products, MVP, allow entrepreneurs to offer basic versions of their products or services to users, which helps product creation, development and implementation, as explained in the Lean Startup methodology. Similarly, prototypes and test results can be presented to regulatory authorities to show compliance with regulations before making major investments of time and money. This approach is useful for bringing products or services into compliance with current regulations. Specifically, incremental development enables the testing of concepts and technologies with authorities or compliance experts before scaling them up. Such an approach reduces the risk of non-compliance and enables alignment of products or services with regional requirements. In healthcare entrepreneurship, several key areas are strictly regulated because of the sensitive nature of the products and services involved. These areas must comply with specific regulations to ensure the safety and effectiveness of products and services, as well as the protection of patients and users. These rules and regulatory frameworks are in place to ensure that companies follow the applicable laws and regulations. Audits and training are used to promote compliance. Failure to comply with these regulations could result in fines or product or service removal from the market. Therefore, it is essential to analyze and adapt to the applicable regulations. Corporate social responsibility is linked to the aspects discussed so far. It is another key issue for entrepreneurs to consider. CSR makes it possible to measure and publicize an organization's potential to contribute to social welfare, which is a key dimension for healthcare ventures. One of the main areas where healthcare ventures can apply CSR is by promoting equity in access to health. This issue is directly linked to the Sustainable Development Goals. Any products and services that are developed must be technically and economically efficient, as well as socially and environmentally responsible. Healthcare ventures have the opportunity to develop innovative solutions that solve medical problems, are sustainable and benefit society as a whole. By addressing these aspects in healthcare entrepreneurship, ventures emerge to develop environmentally friendly and sustainable products. Reducing single-use plastics and managing hospital waste are also key healthcare-related ideas that could be considered when developing a venture. Entrepreneurs can thus apply CSR by developing more sustainable products such as reusable medical devices and biodegradable packaging, as well as solutions that minimize environmental impact and thus contribute to meeting different national and international government targets. Within the regulatory framework, adopting circular economy principles in the healthcare industry could be beneficial for both entrepreneurs and all other stakeholders. Designing products that can be recycled, reused or easily disposed of without causing harm to the environment, as well as addressing some part of the production process, could be of great interest for the creation of a new organization. Therefore, emerging technologies have a clear impact on the implementation of ideas. Entrepreneurs must meet the different challenges they face. Entrepreneurs are recommended to revisit the module that presents new technologies in more detail to give them the opportunity to use technology to develop new business models, optimize business tasks and processes, ensure data security, and overcome the associated challenges. Crucially, however, the adoption of new technologies also raises challenges in terms of adaptation and change management. Challenges and barriers for entrepreneurs. Business ethics can offer entrepreneurs an opportunity to build trust in the market, improve the quality of services and differentiate themselves. In addition, opportunities may arise to develop products or services linked to the needs of other companies in this area. Some business ideas in this area are the following. The need for consultancy or training could lead to the development of organizations focused on continuous training to help other companies improve their ethical practices. The value of product and service innovation could lead to the identification of specific needs related to business ethics, such as tools to improve transparency in the supply chain or platforms that promote fair trade. Specific strategies can be designed to support regulatory development and compliance in entrepreneurship. All entrepreneurs must thoroughly understand the applicable regional regulations. This knowledge ensures compliance and opens the door to potential business opportunities that arise from these regulations. By staying informed and proactive, entrepreneurs can adapt to changes in the regulatory environment and use these changes to their advantage. For instance, they can incorporate innovative solutions into existing processes to enhance efficiency, sustainability, or cost-effectiveness. Additionally, they can identify gaps in the market where new products or services can be introduced to meet emerging demands or requirements driven by legal changes. This approach not only fosters business growth but also makes entrepreneurs forward-thinking leaders within the industry, capable of turning challenges into strategic advantages. Entrepreneurship in the healthcare industry is governed by the applicable regulations, which are adapted to the specific needs of each region. Understanding these regulations depends on the depth of knowledge required by each entrepreneur, the scope of the business, and the location of its primary activities. Therefore, it is essential to understand the key regulations to start a company. However, in the healthcare industry, it is particularly important to ensure the safety, privacy, and quality of services or products because they are directly linked to the well-being of the population. Laws and regulations have been updated to account for the rise of digital technologies. The existing healthcare regulations aim to ensure that every organization complies with the necessary standards for treatments, devices, supply chains, and technologies. Compliance is critical to avoid sanctions and protect both the organization and its users. Hence, adherence to these policies and business ethics is particularly important. These challenges can act as catalysts for entrepreneurial opportunities, encouraging innovative solutions in established business processes and fostering entrepreneurship. Entrepreneurs must strike a balance between innovation and social responsibility. Such a balance not only minimizes legal risks but also strengthens the trust of patients and investors, which is crucial to ensure long-term sustainable success. Here are some references that may be of interest to learn more about this topic.